You know,
Welcome. Woo-wee, y'all. I think this is a regular. That lets me know that it is something powerful coming for you tonight on Conversations. I know we are about 20 minutes behind, but I don't think that you waiting is going to be for naught. So I am going to jump on into this thing. You all already know I am your host, Leah MC of Conversations, and tonight we have a spectacular young man. His name is Mario McLean. I call him Mr. Suit himself. He is phenomenal. I met him a couple of years back, and upon meeting him, he was there to just simply share his story. He wanted to talk about, kind of the journey, the trajectory that life has taken him on. And in doing so, I was beyond impressed. And so he didn't reach out to be on the show. I reached out to him because his story is just that impactful. So let's bring him to the stage. Mr. Mr. Suit himself, Mr. Mario McLean. How are you? Mr. Clean, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Leah?
I am doing good. And my apologies, Mario. I gotta be real. I have no clue what is going on with this technology. I try to test it long before my guests come on, and it works just fine. And right when we supposed to start.
It's all good. We did the prayer. Hey, we covered. You know what I mean?
Listen, I love that. I love it. We are covered and we're gonna get this show going. So again, Mario, you coming up out of the D. I gotta let the what up though come on through. How you doing? How you doing this evening?
Hey, good evening. Good evening. I'm doing amazing. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm greatly appreciated.
Oh no, you are the one that is doing us a favor for showing on up. But we're going to jump on into this thing. And we're going to start on out with, the thought of what conversations is really about. Is looking at most times people hold a negative core belief of themselves, right? They walk around every day with the words in their head that came from somebody else, the actions in their head that now defines who they are,
Mhm.
and it is sometimes disrupting their ability, right, for forward mobility, to be able to climb and to be able to live out the purpose that God has put forth for their life. So tonight, I just kind of want us, and I know it feels like a little, crash course and speeding, but I do want us to jump on into this thing. And I want us to start out with this awesome looking young man. Who is this?
Man, still look the same, believe it or not.
Boy, if you don't look the same, I'ma tell you what. Like nothing changed other than your age. How old were you here?
I honestly couldn't even tell you. I had to be, I'm gonna say maybe 5, 6, maybe.
Okay. Okay, so maybe like your kindergarten, first grade age.
Had to be. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So what I'm hearing, no recollection whatsoever.
Right.
Now, me knowing you as I do, I always see you smiling.
Mhm.
Always. Is that kind of the signature for you?
It is like when I look at this picture, right? Like I'm half smiling. I see, a young boy that was full of joy, but deep down was probably at that time internally hurting, right? Like carrying a lot of pain.
Okay.
In the midst of all of my adversity in life, kind of what has gotten me through all of that is just love and laughter, right? Like I'm a glass half full type of guy, right? So I'm always going to find beauty in the midst of chaos. Like that's kind of how
Mm.
I'm driven. All right. And even looking at, the conversations, like the your logo with the apple, to me, apple represents love, right? And that's
Mm.
kind of how I like to, show up each and every day by just showing love. I feel like whatever energy you put out in the universe, it'll come back to you. So,
Wow, wow, I love that. And just kind of centering what you said, you're telling me that the smile is kind of the signature, but you can see in the picture, right? A moment that you may not necessarily recall,
hmm
but you know that there is something behind, right? The eyes, a lot of times they say the eyes is the window to the soul.
hmm
But the smile that you normally carry, we're not seeing this so much here.
hmm
And what you said is still a happy young man because I can see the glimmer and the glisten, but the smile that we see right now isn't what's shining through. If you would just kind of open this up for us, right? You're about 5, 6 years of age, innocence,
hmm
right?
hmm
And yet you say chaos, some pain was there. Can you kind of take us back a little bit to what you may have been experiencing at this age?
Absolutely. So when I was 6 years old, I was placed in the foster care system. So me and my I have four siblings. So
Okay.
I'm the youngest. Uh, so at that time, me and my two sisters, we were placed in the foster care system due to both my mom and dad struggling with substance and drug abuse. We
Okay.
were homeless at one point in time. I recall, just in and out of family members' houses, in and out of shelters. And,
Mhm.
going into foster care at 6 years old was, as you can imagine, like mind blowing. I'm going through all of these thoughts like, will I ever see my family again? And, you're going to school and you see people that have, two parents in their household, and you almost have to put on a front in the classroom
Mm.
because when you go back home, you're not living the life that everybody else is living. And so
Yeah.
that was kind of for me, like if I look back at my life right now, I would say at the age of 6 years old is when I was quote unquote forced to become a man because I
Mm.
recognize that, at that early age, the situation that I was in was not the trajectory of where I wanted my life to go. Right. Like
Wow.
I took accountability for my life at a young age. And
Mhm.
personally, I recognize that, education and doing good, right? Laughing through it and pushing through was going to be my saving grace. So that's what you see in this young boy or young man in this photo right here.
Wow, 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 Mario, you said a lot, right? And I want to kind of unpack that even more. Okay. I'm a clinical therapist, not here doing therapy. That's always my disclaimer. We just having a conversation, right? And wanting to kind of lift even this awareness because everyone knows systemically that child protective services exist, right?
hmm hmm
And most times when you hear, right, CPS is being called, it is because there is this thought that a beautiful young child, such as yourself, is going through some major hardship that you should not, right?
hmm
And so when I hear you say that you at this young age was forced to become a man, that to me is kind of mind boggling, right? Because a child at that age is playing with blocks, right? And little Tonker trucks.
hmm
And, that they're literally just looking to the adults in their life to provide for them and to do for them. So, and this is probably going to be a part A and B of this, but you first said that you were the youngest
hmm
and you had older sibs.
Yep.
Were they, because you said two of you or three of you? Was it three that were
So
put into first foster care?
it was three total, me and two of my sisters, and I
Okay.
have another older sister and two other brothers. They were too old to go into the system at that point in time. They would have already aged out, if that makes
Okay.
sense. So
Okay. Okay. So then there was a huge gap
mhm,
between, right, you and your siblings. It sounds like you had a much older sibling at
correct.
that time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when they decided, right, that your parents' life was not conducive for you at that time, I know sometimes they split the family up.
hmm
Was that a reality that, you had to experience? Were you able to go with your siblings to, into foster care, or were you all split?
Yeah, so when we first went into the system, I was separated. So I went and lived with an older family. They had another young boy there. I think we were around the same age. My two sisters, they went into like an all girls home, and our
Mm.
experiences were completely different. Right, like
Wow.
they like in their first home, like the foster mom locked them in the basement, like didn't feed them. It was like a something you hear on a movie. For
Yeah.
me, with me being the youngest, like I remember like I was just crying. Like I didn't know what was going on, right? Like I remember we went into the agency and they gave us this teddy bear and I just remember just sleeping with that teddy bear. It got to a point where we would start doing visits where we could see our family like every week. And then eventually I did move foster homes and we were reunited and we did stay all together at a foster home during a period of time, which was pretty cool, to be reunited. At least going through that process with your siblings, I think really helps make things a little bit easier. And then ultimately, I was reunited with my biological dad. I spent about 5 years in the foster care system total.
Okay. Okay. So you said something pretty noteworthy, right?
Hmm.
Is to go through the process with your siblings. It felt like it made that load a little lighter.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So prior to being reunited, though, and like you said, right, the tears, the comfort came from a teddy bear. But you said your experience was a little different. So how was that experience for you?
Yeah, so for me, I was fortunate enough to only be placed in the two foster homes during my 5-year period. So I had the initial
Okay.
foster home, and then I moved into another home, and it was so many of us there. So my foster mom, she had at the time three biological kids that lived there. She had an
Okay.
adopted. She adopted one. She had two other kids and then me and my two sisters. So I think it's like 8 or 9 of us in one house. But it was
Wow.
it was like to me it was amazing. Like we were eating,
Okay.
like we were clothed, we were fed. Um, and I say this all the time, right? Like if I could go back and start life
Hmm.
over,
Yeah.
I would go back to foster care because like it made that much of an impact on me. And
Wow.
I'm I'm one where I was able to overcome that. Not many people that go into the foster care system make it out on a positive. And so that's
Yeah.
why I'm able to speak highly of it because it truly changed my life. It really had instilled in me just the gift of, self-motivation. Like I've always been self-motivated. I never needed anybody to motivate me. I've always been a
Mm.
driven individual. And so I gained that through foster care. And again, I was very big on my education. Like I would was always an honor roll student and I was always able to not allow what I was going through to impact my purpose, right? Like I was
Mhm.
always tunnel vision. Like I'm like, all right, this is maybe where
Right.
I'm at, but this is not the end goal. So I was always
Yeah.
wired like that, even at a very young age.
Wow. Wow. So you say though, you would go back in time and you would do that again. You would literally choose foster care again.
Hmm.
But then you're also saying that you're still making it through what you are going through,
Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
So it's almost like on one end there is this good that's happening, and then at the same end, the proverbial, I always call it our worm that gets to the apple is still happening, right? And eating away at a part of who we are,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So as much as you're being fed and clothed and you're feeling good, and there it sounds like it was love and fun in that system, right? In that
Right.
home, there was still something eating at you.
Mhm.
And what would that have been for you?
Just just mere separation from your biological family, right? Like
Mhm,
you see everybody else has, you know, resources that they can lean on to, a
okay.
mom they can go to, a dad they can go to. So I don't have that. So you're almost living life with no safety net. It's like either
Mhm,
now I gotta make it, I gotta do it, or
mhm,
it's no plan B. So that will, to me, like I knew what it was like to be at rock bottom. And so I
mhm,
never wanted to get to that point. And so for me, it was only up. Right?
mm,
And so again, I feel, that separations, a lot of times you have to be separated from what you think you need, right? And I turned 33 this year, so I've been very big in my faith walk, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
and so it was almost like a Abraham was a living the Abraham story, right? Like I left the land where I was
yeah,
comfortable, and
yeah.
and God told me, hey, go somewhere where you don't know, I don't know what to, I ain't really know what to expect. But again, you
Wow.
see that throughout that journey, you meet people along the way, you gain certain experience, and then you obtain abundance just by having an essentially childlike faith, right? Like I was a child. And that's the thing too, like in foster care, depending on the age you go, if you're
Yeah.
if you're a little bit more older, and like now you have already preconceived thoughts. But me being young, I'm like a sponge, so it's literally childlike faith. I could be scared, I could be nervous, or what have you.
Mhm.
So I think for me that was kind of my story and what I was going through at that time.
So you mentioned scared and nervous, right?
Mhm.
And that is something again that children definitely will go into, separation anxiety, those sorts of things. What would you say as far as, you know, how were you managing? Were there moments of extreme anxiety? Were there moments that there was sadness? Because you're here, right? You have made a great life for yourself, right? If the proverbial pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, like you said, you knew what down looked like, and you knew that you had to work super hard to get from that.
Mhm.
But in the middle, right? Talk to us about in the middle. How were, the realities of trying to make this climb as a child?
Mhm.
As a child.
Yeah, so when I was in the system, right, my dad and my mom, they needed to go to treatment to get us out. And what would
Okay.
happen is, they be in like a 90-day program, and then they need to
Hmm.
get clean, and then they relapse. And so every
Okay.
time they would relapse, it would set the window of us getting out of the system further and further, right? So,
Yeah.
you're in there for a year and you think, hey, okay, now the time's coming. Then 2 years go by, then 3 years go by, then 4 years go by. And so I kind of was battling like the relationship with my parents, and what that looked like,
Okay.
because I couldn't like take anything that they were saying and do anything with it, because what they were saying and the actions, it was,
Yeah.
that that friction. And so
Yeah.
again, that really to me made me figure it out on my own, right? Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't have the resources that I need. So it's just a mixture of emotions. And
Yeah.
what worked was going through that with the smile, right? Like
Mm.
in spite of, like, just always approaching each day with love is was my coping mechanism. That's why everybody that knows me know that I'm extremely silly. I'm always going to be laughing. Like I could be in a funeral and I'm probably be joking. Like that's just who I am. That's how I'm how I'm wired.
Yeah.
And I think again for me that was my coping mechanism for sure.
Okay. Okay. No, I mean that's a beautiful thing. I tell people and I kind of got it, stole it from Kevin Hart. Laughing at your pain, right? Like sometimes when we're going through the most traumatic situations, laughter it heals, and the Bible even talks about it, right? Laughter is good like a medicine.
Hmm.
And I could imagine during that time that, like you said, the disappointment. Okay, we gonna do it. All right, relapse. Okay, we gonna do it. Relapse. And that's going on for a period of time
Hmm.
that your trust kind of, falters and wanes with your parents.
Exactly.
Was there ever a time though that you internalized it and took it in as if something was going on with you? Was something, wrong with me that they cannot, or something wrong with, my siblings that they cannot?
You know, I would say I think I battled with that early on, but
Mhm.
I was always, and still to this day, I don't necessarily live in the past. Like I'm very future focused. And
Mhm.
even getting out of the system, I was able to forgive my parents for putting us in that situation because I no
Yeah.
longer needed to rely on them. But during the
Yeah.
time when I needed to rely on them, right, like it was a different kind of way to navigate that. And so
Mhm.
I've always had a forgiving heart because at the end of the day, it's over and done with. Like, it's nothing to really like, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I gotta keep it pushing. So that was
Yeah.
kind of that was like my approach to that. Like my
Mhm.
sisters on the other end, like they experience maybe a little bit different. But for me,
Mhm.
it happened. I'm gonna keep on moving.
Keep
I
it
can't
moving.
because at the end of the day, what happens is when you get out in the real world, the reality is nobody cares about your upbringing. And so I recognize that early on, like, hey, this is my story. I'm gonna share my story. That's why I'm big on sharing my story because there's other
Yeah.
people that can benefit from that. I didn't have positive role models growing up. I learned what to do by watching things of what I know I don't need to do because I'm already seeing people doing it and what the result is doing it. So I gotta do the opposite of what I'm seeing. So
Wow.
that's
Wow.
that's why I'm big on like mentorship and giving back because I didn't have that growing up. So
Wow. Okay. Okay. So you said you were taken in and it was a female. All the time we hear and women can't raise a man. What's your thought on that?
I think there's some truth to that, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
right now I have three young kids, and they are fortunate enough to grow up with married parents. And there are some things that my wife can give them that I can't, and there's some things that I can give them that she can't, right? And most importantly, from a man perspective,
Mm-hmm.
it takes a man to teach a man how to be a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the one thing that my wife does that I maybe could do better is
Mm-hmm.
being more patient, right? Like she's very loving. I'm, like I was telling you earlier about my day, like I be in go mode. So if I get to a point where it's like this time of the day, I'm overstimulated. It's gonna be hard for me to have that patience.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm hard on my boys because I'm a no excuses type of person, right? Like I know what's in them, and I
Mm-hmm.
know that if I can go through life without proper resources, and now that you have everything that I wish I had, I know there's even more on you. So I'm gonna be harder on you because
Yeah.
that's my way of showing you love. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and women are gonna or females are gonna love gently, and I'm gonna love you from, because I recognize what's inside of you, essentially.
Okay. Okay. So you're a hard taskmaster over there. I get it. I get it. Right. Like you said. I mean, but we all come from our own experiences.
Hmm.
Right. And there is no rule book to parenting. So we parent with the tools that we have, what we acquire along the way.
Correct.
So you said that, you were in the system for about 4 or 5 years and you were reunited with your dad.
Hmm.
How was that, the reuniting period?
It was great to be out of the foster care system, but from just a sheer financial perspective, I mean, we still really he didn't have the proper resources, right? Like I remember, so at that time I was in middle school, and I recall free dress days, and I ain't really got much to wear. Yeah, I'm relying on my dad. We splitting shoes at the time at 29, 2 for 50 at Mr. Allen's. He get a pair, I
Right,
get
right.
a pair.
Mhm,
So it was still a grind, right? Like I remember
mhm.
I used to play basketball, AAU, and I remember like not having the finances to pay for my jersey and travel, and
Yeah,
the coaches are paying for me, or I'm getting help from friends, and it's weird because that's not the reality for other people. And I don't
yeah.
want to seem like I'm just this poor kid with no, so you almost gotta like fake the funk, if you will, like
Right,
fake
right.
to make it. But I
Mhm.
what I well, but what I've noticed in going through that is that God is always going to supply all of your needs, right?
Wow. Yeah,
And so that has really, I've seen that, I've lived it. I'm still living that out to this
yeah,
day. So that was what it was like being reunited. It was definitely a struggle, but I think all things work together for the good.
yeah, yeah.
Both good and bad, I would say.
Well, what I will say is this, and knowing you, that, like you said, you don't let nothing stop you, right? There is that grind that's inside of you no matter what.
Hmm.
And sometimes, we can't always see the good in not so good situations, but it's something that is still shaping us, and we still learning some tools, right? That helps to motivate and change us into being the individual that we're, predestined to be. So let's fast forward it. I know, or I believe, that you were a Renaissance man. Was it a Renaissance or a cast man? Which one was it?
It's only one high school in Detroit. That's Cass.
You know I did that on purpose, right? Ah, the rivals, the rivals. So I mean, but I get it, right? We hear cast number one, and we hear right, whatever it may be. You were at a top institution,
Hmm.
even through all of this.
Hmm.
So even beyond high school, you ain't stopped.
We couldn't stop. That wasn't it. Like at Cass was some of my greatest experience. I didn't even know what Cass was. Like I remember taking the exam, and Cass
Uh-huh.
was my fourth option. Like I knew nothing about Cass. I was fortunate enough to get in there. Met my high school sweetheart, who I'm married to today. So it was
Hmm.
beauty in that for sure. Um,
Yeah.
and after Cass, I knew that college was the next step. I knew I didn't have the money to pay for college. I knew that for a fact, but I knew that that was going to be my outlet. And so,
And that's why we got to go there. Didn't have the money, but
mhm,
you made it to college. I mean, you picked
yeah.
Michigan State. You were supposed to follow your sweetie to U of M, right? Go blue. But anyway, we gave you the others. It's fine. How did you make it, right? Because me as a single mom, I remember bringing, my daughters up, and the one thing that I would always say to them, because we ain't had no money, not like that. I
Mhm,
said, you better pimp your brain and leave these boys alone. Right?
mhm.
So talk to us. How did you get and matriculate to college without having, right, all of the resources needed?
$1 a dream and student loans, which I'm still paying today.
Look, glory. Yes, sir. Me too. I told folk I owe a house. But anyway, yeah.
So it
Wow.
was student loans for sure, and then now one thing that I knew that I know that I lacked was just awareness. Like I didn't know much about scholarships. I didn't know, and even too, I kind of fell on the short end of the stick with being in
Okay.
foster care and getting out at 12 because there's a lot of resources available for foster youth, but it really is at if you get out at 14. So I kind of like just missed that window. Um,
Okay.
and it was very eye-opening, right? But
Yeah.
again, I'm like, hey, if I got to incur debt to make it, I would do that. And even looking at, all of the accomplishments that I've had, at Michigan State and beyond, I could have allowed at that point in time not having money to put my career in a whole different trajectory. And looking at today, like I have a endowed scholarship in my name at Michigan State that's funding other people
Wait,
to
slow down, Mario. Don't be trying to throw that out there all fast. You have a what?
yes, I have a Mario McLean Endowed Scholarship Fund at Michigan State. It's been four recipients so far.
My
Um,
God.
and so that's the blessing, right? Like you don't have anything, you create it, and now other people can benefit from the seeds that you planted that maybe I don't get to benefit from, but I'm okay with knowing that, of being a trailblazer and allowing other people to, help make their trajectory a little bit faster. So
Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. You know, I'm still like tripping off of that. 33 years old, right?
32. I ain't 33 yet. I got a
You ain't
couple
even
more
hit
months.
33 yet. You
Yeah.
you young enough to be my son, my hair. But then whatever. We gonna let that pass. But oh my goodness, what a blessing. So that lets me know that not only did you figure it out on how to make it to the next level that you wanted to go to, it meant so much to you that you must have made some significant connections.
Absolutely.
How did you do that without seeing yourself in the quote unquote shadows? Like you said, this mask that you were wearing, did the mask help you to continue to succeed?
Nah, I would say I've always been one to put myself in a position to recognize when an opportunity is there, right? And it
Okay.
was just the way that I showed up, right? Like I'm big
Okay.
on self-image, I'm big on presentation. And my mentor, which is the one, her and her husband is the one who created the Mario McLean Endowed Scholarship. She was my freshman business professor, and what caught her eye was the fact that I was always the first one in class. I sat in the very front, and I would turn in my assignment super early. And I recall at the end of the semester, she's mentioned like, "Hey, if you need anything, just stay in contact with me." And so I took advantage of that. Like we maintained that relationship. I would stop in her office, every other week and check in, and she helped connect me to a lot of different individuals. Like my first job out of college, I was a district sales manager at Frito Lay, and it was through her help with connecting me to one of her friends who was retiring, out of the industry. And so I think one of the beauties of going to college is actually taking advantage of all of the resources that are made available. And everything, as I'm looking back, I was very proactive in everything that I did, right? Like they have career fairs at college, which are geared for juniors and seniors. I
Yeah.
went as a freshman and volunteered to learn the game, right? Like I'm trying to figure out like what not to do, what shouldn't I wear, what companies, so by the time it was junior and senior, I'm overly prepared, right? And kind of my motto and was the book that I wrote was every day is an interview. Like that was how I wanted to present every single day as if I had an interview to go to.
Okay,
And
slow down,
and
slow
my
down.
my my
Your first book was named what? Entitled what?
every day is an interview.
Every day is an interview. Talk
Yes.
to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so every day is an interview is essentially a quote that I still live by to this day. And what caused me to create that quote is I remember I applied for a job and I didn't get it. And, I felt like I was prepared. I felt like, I should have gotten it. But at the end of the day, I had to look myself in the mirror and say, what did I do? What could I have done differently? Right? Was it
Okay.
the way I prepared myself? Was it the way that I dressed? And so I thought about when you're prepping for an interview and when you have an interview, you are very prepared, and I'm like, what if I could adopt this mentality every single day? Right. And it just became a part of who I was. Like I got to the point where I would be dressed up on campus. Like it's students coming to class in pajamas. I got a suit on, a tie, and it became a part of my identity to the point where if somebody would see me without a suit and tie on, they're like, why you got jeans on? Like, you know what I mean? And so yeah, like that's
Y'all every day.
Yeah,
This
so
is not just listen to me. Every single day, Mario is suited. I just had to throw this up here. I'm gonna
man,
put this back on down, and we're gonna keep talking. But I needed for our audience to really understand what he's talking about. He not out here playing no games. I'm
it's like a
hearing
business
how
casual look for
serious.
me right there. And
You see,
that's me
you
dressing
said
down. It's
business
like, no,
casual.
I'm playing with you.
You know what? You be clouded. I love it though. But this is what I want to ask because my mind just kind of pops all over the place, and this is why I love the organic conversation.
Mhm,
When in right getting caught up and entangled in our health and human service systems, right? Our child protective services systems. There's always interviews,
mhm.
right? They always coming through and asking questions and right? Like, so
Right.
at 6 years old, Mario, you was getting prepared to be able to show up
Mhm.
at the interview. And for you to even write that book, was that a part of that anywhere or no?
I think so. I knew so. What even like caused me to even want to write a book was just going through foster care and knowing that that wasn't a reality for the average human being. I'm like, I need to share my story. Like I need somebody to hear and know what I'm going through. Because what happened is as you get older and you become successful, people think that you're a silver spoon and you were always that way. And it's like, no, like I literally started from ground zero and worked my way up. And so the thought of writing that was to share everything that I went through, to share the adversity, to share the tools and keys to success that work for me and share that with somebody with hopes that I can help one person. If I
Wow.
can help one person in writing that book, then that to me was a win. Yeah.
Wow.
Now and also I knew no authors. I didn't know what so I've always been comfortable with being a trailblazer, being a guinea pig, and then after I've learned it, go back and share. Hey, this is what I did. This is what worked. This is what didn't work. This is what I recommend. So that's how I've always been wired of not knowing what to expect,
Yeah.
but I'm comfortable with doing the legwork and sharing the results, whether it's a win or it's a fail. Like that's how I'm wired. So
Wow. I absolutely love it. So that was a self-published
yes, yes, it
scenario.
was. Hmm.
So I'm about to bring up the newest Suit Man, the power of showing up. Talk to us about your newest book.
Absolutely. So this is a children's book, as you can see, and man, this started out. I was coming out of church one day, and I remember this was the day my wife didn't go, and I just had the thought. I'm like, I should write a children's book. And so
Mhm,
Superman is I'm being portrayed as Superman, and the two
mhm,
kids here, these are my younger son, Jeremiah and Isaiah, and it's
uh-huh,
told through the lenses of both of them. And essentially what the story is about is that they recognize that when I dress up and when I wear a suit, the world and the community treats me differently, right?
mm,
However, when I go out in the community and I'm dressed down with hoodie on and jeans, it's a different reaction. And so the story is that we shouldn't have to dress a certain way for the world to treat it. They should treat us with love regardless. And so it's told again through their eyes. And I've had the beauty this year of going to different schools, especially in March, because March is National Reading Month. So I got the
mhm.
chance to even go to my son's school and read that to his classmates. And it's funny because every time I pick him up from school, his classmates like, "There goes Superman, there's Superman." So,
Ah,
but
I
it's
love
life
it.
changing. Yeah, just or all organic. I love it though. I really do.
I mean, again, I just see so much of the early, right, childhood actually feeding and manifesting into what it is that life is looking like for you,
Hmm.
right? It's
Hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, we got to go here. because we can't let this go. I seen this on Facebook.
Well,
Probably about, has it been a month yet when you got this going on?
uh, yeah, that was April 18th, I believe. Was
Okay, so a little
the
over a month. What was going on here?
Yeah, so I graduated through the School of Com Arts. So I majored in communication, I minored in sales, and every year they have an award ceremony in which they recognize. Uh, so this year it was four outstanding alumni. So these are alums that have went on and have made a significant impact in their industry and their community, and they have to have been out of school for I want to say over 10 or 15 years and
Okay.
and then they recognize a rising star alum, and this is somebody that has graduated within 10 years, and has gotten off to a fast start within the community, and they only recognize one of these individuals per year, and I was fortunate enough to be the rising star awardee this year. And since the
Mm-hmm.
inception of this award back in the 60s, there's only been 21. I was the 21st recipient of the rising star award, and for the individuals that I was being recognized with the outstanding alumni, it's been like 260 out of like
Okay.
40,000 alumni. So it was an amazing experience. Like, to put it in perspective, one of the ladies I got recognized with, like, she was a national columnist for USA Today, and
Okay.
the whole time I'm like, I don't know if I'm worthy to be up here. I'm like, y'all sure I won this? won this
Wow. Wow. Like, I'm speechless.
Yeah, me too. I'm still in awe, honestly.
So, as this little boy that we saw earlier, could you have even fathomed that the life you're living right now is, actually here?
Never in a million years. But as like I told you, I'm big on faith, right? And
Yeah.
one thing I've been doing a better job as I'm reading the word is
Yeah.
understanding and learning like the meaning of names, right? So if I'm reading a passage, I'm looking at what is the meaning of their name. And like
Yeah.
this year was the first time I like really looked up like what does Mario mean? And
Yeah.
it's funny because like Mario means like warrior like and like a
Mhm.
conqueror. And
Mhm.
I'm like, man, it's like I didn't even recognize that, but God has a funny way of doing things, right? Like he know what we're going to go through, and the
Yeah.
beauty is us living out our purpose. And I was
Yeah.
doing that unconsciously, and now that I'm more conscious of that, I'm more intentional with
Yeah.
protecting my name and understanding like why I'm put on this earth. Because what happens is if you don't tap into the real reason why you're on here, you
Yeah.
now may be hurting someone that is dependent on you to get them through
Mm.
whatever they're getting through. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
that's how I'm wired. Like right now at this
Wow.
stage of life, personally. So
No, no, I love it. I love it because there is significance in a name,
mhm,
right? And when we're talking about conversations and we're talking about negative core beliefs of self, what we call ourselves matter.
mhm.
It's going to be that thing that either propels us or it's going to be the thing that actually holds us back. And life circumstances, it sounds like, as difficult as they were, you did not allow, it was almost, a hedge of protection or a barrier where it was not allowed to indefinitely penetrate you, right?
Yeah, I have a motto where a lot of people become a product of their environment. You see it repeated all over,
Mm-hmm.
over and over again, right?
Yeah.
I live by, I have become a product of my preparation, right? And the
Wow.
real work happens when nobody's watching. That's when you're
Yeah.
building the character. That's when you are putting in the work. And so I know that all of the blessings that are bestowed upon me is because I put the time in. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm just
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
waking up and magic is happening. Like this is
Yeah.
intentional work. You know what I mean? So
But what encourages you though, right? Some people have what we call intrinsic motivation, right? Like it's just in us. It's that hunger, right? It's that craving, it's that grind, right?
Hmm.
But then there's others that need extrinsic motivation where they need somebody from the outside that's kind of pushing them along constantly. And I know sometimes, we need a little push, but
Hmm.
then we wind up with some codependency, right, happening where you can't move without that individual.
Hmm.
So, how is it for you? What is that motivator, that engine that kind of, or the fire that keeps propelling you? What is it?
I think I've just always had it in me. Right. Like, and it's funny because like my last Bible study that I taught, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and I've never really seen it, but I don't know if you've seen the what is it, The Dark Knight Returns, and it was when he was trying to jump out of the what they was in, like he was in prison and he was trying to jump out
Uh,
the cave or something like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but anyway, the what keeps me is not having the beauty of a safety net. Like a lot of people, when you
Mm,
have a safety net, you approach life a lot more careful, right?
mhm,
And so
mhm,
for me, I've always been okay with taking a risk. Like,
mm,
and I'm always thinking of the positive side of things, right? For example, my wife, if I say, "Hey, let's do this," she want to know how it's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen, what's the end result, and she's gonna
and she
always,
should. No.
right, and she's gonna always worry about the what ifs.
Yeah,
I'm on the other hand, I'm like, I don't necessarily know, but I know that with work ethic, we gonna figure it out and
yeah,
we gonna be good. And so while she's worrying about what could happen, what could go wrong, I'm worried about this is what's gonna go right because of the work ethic. So
okay,
I think I've always just had like that work ethic, that grind in me since a kid, and that has always stuck with me. And I think really because I didn't have anything else, it was either I'm gonna do it or around me are not gonna have you know be able to benefit from that.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I get the grind, but how do you stay positive? Because I'm working with someone right now,
Hmm.
and right, it's very easy for um disappointment
Yep.
to settle in, for sadness and depression to settle in when things are not moving as swiftly as you would desire. How do you remain positive?
Yeah, I would say right now how I remain positive, like I told you, I'm big in the word, right? And I feel like
Okay.
as I study the word, like God teaches you that, right? Like a lot of times we get in our own way and we have certain timelines and goals, and the word says you tell God your plan and he gonna laugh at you because
Mm,
he moving at his own time, and that's why a lot of times we get in our own way and we run away from God. But
yeah.
I know that we can't do anything with, we need God with us. And so when
Mhm.
the earlier you recognize that, life starts making sense.
Mm,
Right. And so, and for me, I think what helps me be positive is, one, I surround myself with positive people. I don't feed into negativity, right? Like I'm not wasting my energy on negative, right? So
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
if people are negative around me, I'm cutting you off. I don't need that. It's like
yeah, yeah.
I'm moving differently, right? So that helps. I have positive self affirmations, right? I have calendar
Okay.
invites, so I'm feeding all of this positivity in me. And when you do that, your thoughts become your heart, and what's in your heart becomes the reality, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
sometimes too I can catch myself speaking negativity over my life, and I'll pause it, right? Like if I'm, let's say if I'm broke, I'll be like, man, I'm broke. Then I'll change. I'm like, nope, I'm rich. Even if I ain't really got it, I'm gonna speak it into existence, right? And so
Yes, yeah.
that's kind of what keeps me positive, right? Like smiling and just always feeding myself with positivity all throughout the day. So,
Love it. I love it. I love it. I had to pull that out, right? Because, life is tough right now.
mhm,
Right? We're looking at our economy. Things ain't, the way they were even just a couple of years ago, right? Gas, you looking at almost $5 a gallon. I was telling my kids the other day, I remember when gas was like 95 cents
Right.
a gallon, right? Like $5 got me a long way. Now my tank is laughing if I even look to just drop a five, right? And so
Exactly.
it's hard out here. And don't like layer that with past traumatic pain that hasn't necessarily been resolved, right? And so it's very easy to kind of fall into, a ditch of despondency, right? And so one of the reasons for this show is to be an encouragement for those that might find themselves kind of slipping into a ditch or may have already fallen in the ditch and don't necessarily know, like, how can I get up out of this thing?
Mhm.
So your story, your testimony, right? You being able to share how you have literally looked beyond the pain that might have been sitting and staring you dead in the face.
Mhm.
Um, I'm just overwhelmed, right? Because even I have low days.
Mhm.
And so to hear and to be reminded, right? Thought stopping, like, nah, I am not going to speak that over my life. I am not going to say certain things about myself or my situation. Like,
Mhm.
God tell us, don't be anxious for nothing. Sit on back and relax. I got you. And we
Right.
have to remind ourselves, right? Over and over again about the truth of what God says, right?
Amen.
So we're going to get ready to kind of land this plane.
Mhm.
I wanted to drop this though, looking at our child welfare system, right? Looking at our child protective services. Um, there was, a thought. I'm saying, well, how many Black children are finding themselves in the system,
Mhm.
right? When I looked it up, and I just kind of did a national, I didn't go and drill it down to the state of Michigan, but just looking at the national average here, it's saying Black children face significant overrepresentation in the U.S. foster care system,
Mhm.
right? It then says that while the general population is 14%, looking at children,
Mhm.
is saying that Black children make up about 23 to 25% of that. So we see the disparity, right?
Mhm.
We see the harm that can be imposed onto our babies. So there's something that I do on the show, and it's called Seeds of Hope.
Mhm.
I want you, because normally I say 60 seconds, we're going to wrap that thing up, put it on out there, get that nugget. But I want for you to give the youth of today a seed of hope. I want then, after you give them encouragement, I want for you to say something to the parents of today regarding centering their children and the need, right, to show up in a healthy way. So I need you to drop two seeds. Can you do that for me today?
I can. And I kind of forgot the question, but I think that if I go off, just let me know. But as far as
First
this,
one, I'm gonna recenter it. The first
uh,
one is the seed of hope
yep.
for children of today or youth. Forget just children, youth and young adults of today that
Mhm.
may be going through a difficult time with maybe estranged parents, parents that's not in their lives, waiting on their parents to return. I work along with this one young man. Sadly, he's incarcerated right now. And he just called me this past week and said, I was waiting to be reunited with my mom and she died.
Mhm.
He was removed at 4, right? And
Yep.
so there are a lot of young people that are hurting because of right? The decisions of their parents and the system stepping in. So if you could give a seed of hope to them and then give a word to parents, right? So that they can continue to center their children and heal for their children. And I'm gonna bring you center stage.
Alrighty. Far as the seed of hope that I would give a youth today, first thing is going to be, don't, where you start is not where you finish, right? Like in the Bible, it says farmers don't wait until the season is perfect to begin, planting. Like they do that, and then they're working over time, and then eventually your hard work, you will reap the benefits of that. And so, for me, what has worked is beating the odds, right? Whatever the statistics are, like that's irrelevant. Like I don't care about that. Like that, I can change that, right? And so I would say try to look beyond your situation. I would encourage them to read the story of Elisha, and when the army came and it was 400 uh 400 army men come in, and it's just two of them. He didn't see that. He saw the chariots of fire, right? He saw God. He knew that they had already won. He says more on our side than it is with than them. And so that's what I would definitely encourage, far as planting that seed of hope, is just looking beyond your situation and seeing God. And I think that will really help get you through a long way. Far as the parents, I would say, hey, you are the you have the ability to set a good example of how your kids are going to grow up with. So be intentional, right? Like I'm going through that now. I have three young children, 3, 5, and 7, right? And so I recognize that I have to be involved. I understand what it was like growing up without parents. And so I'm very intentional on my time with my children and setting a positive example, showing them love and positivity. And so I would say that if you're a parent and you have messed up, and it's never too late to start over, right? One day or day one, right? Like your kids are dependent on you. So again, approach every day with love and positivity. And I can guarantee that if you continue to water those seeds, you will receive an abundance of blessings, and it'll be big enough that you won't be able to contain them. So those are my seeds of hope for today.
Wow, Mario, thank you. I love it. I absolutely love it. Y'all, I told y'all we were coming with some power today, right? And it was undeniable. I knew it. Y'all just didn't know what y'all were about to get in Mr. Mario. But Mario, I do appreciate you for coming on this evening and sharing your story, being vulnerable, being open,
Mhm.
to just kind of be real about what life looks like within the foster care system, right?
Absolutely.
This is not the exhaustive, right, picture of what it looks like.
Hmm.
Just want the audience to know, but this was your piece, right, within the system, and you were able to rise above. You were able to rise above, and you have been such an encouragement to me this evening, and I want to say thank you. To our listening audience, I have kind of going across the screen at the bottom. This is Mr. Mario McLean's. This is his website, the Sweet Life Accessories.com. So when y'all saw that suit that I popped up there, y'all, he a beast. All I can say is that this too can be you. Cleaner than a board of health. Make sure you check out his website. I'm certain, Mario, are your books also on the website?
Yes, yep. There's a
All
book.
right.
Just Superman is what I'm currently promoting. But yep, if you type in Every Day's Interview, Amazon, both all books can be found on there.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And so, again, I want you all to tap in, go to his website, patron him, right? Get the book, read it, then read it to your babies and
Mhm.
pass it on, circulate it, because there is strength in that book. Is there any other way, Mario, that they can get in touch with you if they, want to talk, if they need you to come out and speak? Are there any other ways that they can get in touch with you?
Yep, you can find me on pretty much every platform. My first and last name, Mario McLean. Um, and my email is Mario McLean and the number one at gmail.com. So feel free to DM me, reach out via email, and happy to connect.
Awesome, awesome. And on that note, Mario, we gonna get on up out of here. I thank you, thank you, thank you yet again for
Absolutely.
coming on to the show and blessing us this evening. Do tell the wife thank you for allowing you to spend
Out
so
here
much
putting the
time. I
kids in
know
the
you gotta
tub
put your
right
baby
now.
down,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
But I thank you again for coming on the show. God bless, and to our listening audience, God bless you all as well. And I will see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. sharp. Make certain that you have your snacks ready because we coming with more fire on Conversations Podcast. Take care.
Alrighty. Y'all have a great day.
All right, you too.